Hello YouTube. Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting in a Fan. Good evening to all of you in YouTube land. I hope and pray that you and yours are happy and healthy and safe and well. Right now the time is approximately 5:44 p.m. Eastern Time, and you know what that means, my fellow witches, pagans, and magical practitioners. 5 plus 4 plus 4 equals 13, as in the number 13, blessed be the power of the witch. Right now, the date is Monday, December 26th, 2022. It is the last day of Hanukkah, the first day of Kwanzaa, and to my friends up north in Canada and in the United Kingdom, a happy Boxing Day. And of course, happy holidays to all of you and yours. I would like to acknowledge my newest YouTube channel subscriber, Carla Jo. Carla Jo, welcome to the YouTube channel of yours truly, Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. And yes, this bathrobe is keeping me very warm and toasty, so I absolutely need to have the fan is necessary. Pardon me. And of course, now that the sun is in Capricorn, I have changed pendant, so I'm going to have Drake do a close-up of the pendant that I'm wearing while the sun is in my sun sign Capricorn. It is this beautiful sterling silver and lapis lazuli pendant. I could not find the pendant, or actually I couldn't find one of the pendants I normally wear when the sun is in Capricorn. So I said to myself, you know what? Capricorn is the sign of the prophet, and lapis lazuli is a third eye crystal. So I'm going to wear this. Anyway, so today we're going to do the December 2022 entry for Llewellyn's 2022 tarot calendar. And I'm going to have Drake do a close-up of the cover of this gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful, beauteous calendar. And this will be the last time you see this calendar, because then we have 2023's calendar. That gorgeous forest green. This is the back of the calendar. And I'm going to show you the December 2023 entry. And yes, everybody in YouTube land, there is a spread. And here we have December 2023. As is usual, and especially for those of you who are new to my YouTube channel, I always read the articles first, share my intuitive insights, and if there is a spread, I do the spread. So, we have the Judgment from the Mystic Fairy Tarot. I actually do not remember the artist's name. Linda Ravenscroft. The book was written by the Barbara Moore, who also writes the spreads, tips, and I forgot the other part. Insights, spreads, and tips. So I'm going to read what Ms. Moore wrote about the Judgment card. I'm going to read about the symbol, which has my favorite lily, the calla lily. Truth be told, I do love all lilies, but there is a very graceful elegance to the calla lily that I find especially appealing. In my experience, they don't have much of a scent, but there's just a sublime elegance to them. And then I'm going to do the year-end wrap-up spread. So, the Judgment card the Judgment card in general. Judgment announces an important message about the trajectory of your life. It may be, hello, Bast! Hello, Bast, you look so cute. Can we get a close-up of Bast, please? Her behind. Can you see her? You can't get a close-up of her? Oh, okay. Well, maybe you'll come out. Am I back in frame? Okay. Anyway, I apologize. Cute cat alert, so you know what that means. In my household, that always takes priority. Okay. Judgment announces an important message about the trajectory of your life. It may be obvious like a blaring trumpet, or it may be subtle. To hear that often still small voice, it is vital to be quiet and listen. I've noticed that, and of course, no, I'm going to go with what I was saying, and then I'm going to go with what I'm about to say about this card. So I've noticed that lately, with the clients that have been meeting with me for readings, I've been guided and led to recommend that they engage in meditation. And, you know, when I first began meditating, I literally would meditate for a minute every other day. I would set a timer. I had an electronic kitchen timer, and I would set that, and I would literally meditate every other day. And now, when I do meditate, I usually strive to meditate for at least 10 minutes, but sometimes I go in and I remain in meditation for at least 20 minutes, and I think sometimes up to half an hour. And I really find that engaging in meditation, even for a minimum of 10 minutes a day, makes a huge difference. Now, traditionally, the Judgment card depicts Archangel Gabriel. Living in a city. Did you want to come up here, Bast? She's looking at me. Like she's never seen me before. But then again, I don't usually sit in this part of my living room, so what do you know? Anyway, like I was saying, so traditionally, the Judgment card depicts Archangel Gabriel, who is the divine messenger of the archangels. So if you are open to working with the archangels, you can absolutely work with Gabriel to help you receive messages from the divine, from the spirits, from your ancestors, from your spirit guides, more clearly and more completely. And you can even do a meditation with the Judgment card. I've always found it interesting that in the major arcana of the tarot, there are two cards that have terms that are jurisprudence terms. We have Judgment and we have Justice. So I always found that interesting. And, you know, there was a time that I would interpret that as a legal situation, but, you know, the nature of the major arcana are spiritual forces at work. So now more than ever, when I think of the Judgment card and the Justice card, I think of karma and dharma, because those are spiritual philosophies and spiritual forces. The symbol is the calla lily. This flower, associated with the angel of Annunciation, also known as Archangel Gabriel, who announced Mary's calling, is an apt symbol for a card announcing our own spiritual call to a new life of faith and resurrection. And for the record, I don't tend to look at the term resurrection from a religious point of view, especially considering that I've been a happily recovered Catholic for a very, very long time. And now more than ever, I'm more than happy to point out to people on the internet that Christianity and Catholicism are not the only religions on planet Earth. There's Judaism, there's Wicca, there's Islam. There are other religions, and not to mention Shintoism, and there are so many other religions that are practiced on planet Earth. Christianity is not the only one. Christianity seems to be the more well-known one. One could argue it's the more dominant one, but it's not the only one. And you know, and that's one of the reasons why I was more than happy to mention that tonight is the last night of Hanukkah, which is a Jewish holiday. And even though Kwanzaa is not a religion but a spiritual philosophy, it is still something that is another form of spiritual expression and spirituality. But anyway, so as is my practice, and for the record, I am long overdue to replace my copy of the Mystic Fairy Tarot. I'll need to rectify that soon, but in the meantime, it is my commitment and my preference that when I do a spread from Llewellyn's tarot calendars, I always use a tarot deck published by Llewellyn. And this month has been what I've been calling oldie but goodie month, because I've been using tarot decks that I had not used in a long time. So of course, I'm going to use one of my personal favorite Llewellyn decks, the Robin Wood Tarot, written and illustrated by the late and great Robin Wood. And I will tell you that this is the tarot deck that I always keep on my Divine Prosperity altar. Because I receive money in exchange for my psychic services, I always have at least one of my business cards and one of my tarot decks on it. And you know, now that I think about it, I do not have anything that represents my goddess energy healing practice on my Divine Prosperity altar. Well, you know what I'm going to put on my Divine Prosperity altar this week. But in the meantime, I want to give these cards a good shuffle. I'm going to cut them into 3 piles. And I'm going to give you an overview of the year-end wrap-up spread. But first I'm going to have Drake, more commonly known as my awesome audiovisual person for my YouTube videos, do a quick close-up of just the year-end wrap-up spread section of the calendar. I'm going to read the first part, I'm going to read the last part, and then I'm going to go cast the cards, and we're going to take it from there. So, the end of the year is a good time to reflect on the past 12 months. Use this spread to help you consider all you experienced this year, 2022, what's left of it. It will show you what is necessary to bring with you, what will be important to you, and perhaps most importantly, what to leave behind. Just imagine how wonderful it will feel to step into a new year feeling prepared, confident, and free of excess baggage. I know that most of us are not feeling that and radiating that just yet. We'll get there. I promise we're going to get there. So, 2 columns of 3 cards each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So left, right, left, right, left, right. So card number 1. What was learned? A lesson from the past year that will be important for the coming year. So a lesson from 2022 that will be important for 2023. Card number 2. What was not learned? A lesson that wasn't learned. Sorry, I have an itch on my eyelash. A lesson that wasn't learned and will be repeated this coming year. So the lesson that you did not learn in 2022, you're going to learn again or have an opportunity to learn in 2023. Card number 3, what was finished? Something you completed that will provide confidence for this coming year of 2023. Card number 4, so 3, 4, that's 4. What was not? Something left undone that you should reconsider, or complete if it's possible and feasible for you to do so. Card number 5. What to take? Something gained this year to take into the next year. So something you gained in 2022 to take into 2023. And card number 6, right at the bottom, what to leave behind. Something gained in 2022 that needs to be left behind in 2022 and not taken with you in 2023. And of course, for those of you who have had readings with me, when I use cards, you know that I pull a final message card from the very bottom of the deck. So, now, very important. These are one of the few occasions when I cast the cards for the collective. I do not do it on a regular basis because, let's be honest, there is no shortage of YouTube channel content creators who pull cards for all and sundry on YouTube, in YouTube land. So you don't need me to do it. You don't need me to do it. It's not like you're going to die if I don't do it. So again, it's not like you need me to do it. And for those of you who do not have the money to spare to have a reading with me, you can use these videos as what you really need to know right now. Save yourself a couple of bucks. Although, if you're guided and led, ask your spirits to provide you with the money to have a reading with me. Or avail yourself of one of my other psychic services, because I don't just do readings anymore. All right, so this is for the collective. This may resonate with some of you. This may resonate with some of you not at all. This may resonate with some of you incredibly, and this may resonate with some of you slightly. I don't know, and unless you let me know in the comments, I won't know. And here we go. From the top. What was learned? A lesson from the past year that will be important for the coming year. That's card number 1. So first, I'm going to have Drake, more commonly known as my awesome audiovisual person for my YouTube videos, do a close-up of the cover, of the back of the card design, which I find so beautiful. I love the combination of the green and white. And of course, I'm going to have him do a close-up of the front of the card design, because that's the card that represents what was learned. Okay. The Devil card. How appropriate that I am doing this video while the sun is in Capricorn. And the Devil card is astrologically aligned with the sun sign Capricorn. So I've always looked at this card as worrying about money, worrying about sex, worrying about pleasing other people, worrying about relationships in general. So given the nature of the spread interpretation, what was learned? You learned not to worry about money. You learned not to worry about sex, or the lack thereof. You learned not to worry about relationships in general. You learned not to worry about pleasing other people. And if you did indeed learn those lessons, congratulations on being the ultimate badass bitch. Number 1. And number 2, you know, what I've always found interesting about this card, and this particular Devil card, is that one of the figures is reaching for the light, and the other figure wants to remain enslaved and bound. So, and when I say the light, I need to be specific and specify the open door. Like one wants to be free and the other one does not. And I'm not going to go into the gender of the figures, because some people feel comfort in being bound to somebody else. I could never understand why some people want to have a witch do a spell to bring back an ex. Like, that person is your ex for at least 3 good reasons, and you want to be magically bound to them? Are you sure about that? And believe me, that is another topic for another video for another day. And that would be a much longer video than this one, because I would have plenty to say about that. So, this is what you learned in 2022. Congratulations. Now, what was not learned? A lesson that was not learned in 2022 and is going to be repeated in 2023. So once again, I'm going to have Drake do a close-up of the back of the card design. And now I'm going to have him do a close-up of the front of the card design. The Hermit. You know, when we were in a pandemic stage because of COVID-19, all the introverts were like, oh, okay. All the extroverts were like, oh my God! Oh my God! I can't see this person! Oh my God! And you know that. You know that. Because you're still freaking out that there are some people you haven't seen in forever. So let me tell you something. This is a lesson you did not learn. You did not learn how to be comfortable by yourself and with yourself. Not all of you, but the people for whom this applies, you know who you are, and you know that I'm talking to you. You did not learn how to be comfortable by yourself with yourself. You did not learn how to be self-reliant. You did not learn how to enjoy your own company. You did not learn how to enjoy doing things on your own. That is not to say that there are some things that you must do on your own. I do not often talk about my romantic relationship, my life partner. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But there are certain things that, as much as I would love to do with him, it's just not feasible for him sometimes. So I do them on my own. One of the things that I love doing is going to free Shakespeare in the Park productions. And there are two that I was able to attend that I went by myself because he wasn't available. Would I have loved for him to have joined me? Absolutely. And he's attended them with me in the past, but it just wasn't feasible this time around. So, I went by myself. And you know what? I had a fantastic time. I really did. I had a great time with both performances. I would have preferred to have gone to more. It didn't happen, and that's okay. So there you go. So with that being said, this is an opportunity to learn in 2023 how to love being by yourself and with yourself, how to engage in solitude and introspection, and also how to enjoy engaging in spiritually uplifting and spiritually nourishing activities. And with the Hermit card, I always, always, always think of meditation, visualization, introspection, and journal writing. And I also think of Simon of the Hermit's Cave YouTube channel. But I digress. Card number 3, what was finished? Something you completed in 2022 that will provide confidence for you in 2023. So I'm going to have Drake do a close-up of the front of this card design. And hopefully he won't knock over the ring light anymore. She only created one deck, but I want to tell you I am just enamored by her artistry. 2 of Wands. 2 of Wands. So you learned and you finished and completed making better choices about your spirituality and about your professional endeavors. I tend to automatically or predominantly think of Wands as work and career, but according to the American Tarot Association, Wands relate to spirituality and spiritual and psychic development. What was not finished? Card number 4. Something left undone in 2022 that you need to reconsider. I'm curious about this card. Every once in a while, when I do one of these spreads, I instinctively know which is the pivotal card. And there's something about this card that's going to be very pivotal. So I'm going to make sure that Drake, more commonly known as my awesome audiovisual person for my YouTube videos, is ready for this close-up. And here is the card. That's really interesting. Okay, intuitively, the 8 of Pentacles for me has nothing to do with money. Traditionally, Pentacles cards have to do with financial health and with physical health. But 8 of Pentacles for me is not about money. It is about higher education and continued education. And it is interesting to note that I eventually learned that it is the card of the apprentice card. So perhaps there are certain things that you did not learn in 2022 that need to be learned and still need to be learned. Prior to making my official debut as a professional psychic medium, I did not share that I had been reading a book about mediumship. And now I'm actually looking forward to publicly acknowledging that I'm going to read this book about psychic mediumship. and that I'm also going to take classes in mediumship. But I'm going to say that this could be something, I mean, yes, there is a figurative lesson that is represented in this card, and for some of you it is a figurative lesson or a figurative body of knowledge, but for some of you it is a literal body of knowledge. So if you didn't learn it in 2022, that tarot, or Isis Fortuna, goddess of the sacred tarot, and by extension divination, is asking you to reconsider learning it. For me, I don't need to reconsider learning mediumship. I am already being guided and led to study mediumship and take classes in it. But there may be certain things that you may be asked to reconsider that you learn, or relearn as the case may be. Okay, card number 5, what to take? Something gained in 2022 to take into 2023. Close up, Mr. Cameraman. Close up, Mr. Cameraman. I do get a kick out of doing that. Okay, so, what to take? Something gained in 2022 to take into 2023. 9 of Cups, the wish fulfillment card, the wish granted card, the heart's desire card. You know, it's interesting. I recently began learning classical cartomancy, which is more commonly known as playing card divination. And the few books that I've read have varying interpretations for all of the suits and their correspondences. And I remembered years ago, when I first began reading, well, I never fully read Tarot for Yourself by the phenomenal Mary K. Greer. However, I was fascinated by the correspondence tables. And in the correspondence tables, she listed the playing card suits that correspond to the minor arcana suits. Cups correspond to hearts. And it is interesting to note that in one of the books that I'm currently reading about playing card divination, I'm currently reading 2, by the way, one of them refers to the 9 of Hearts as the wish fulfilled card, the wish granted card, and the heart's desire card. And I thought to myself, this is what the 9 of Hearts means. And hearts correspond to cups. So 9 of Hearts is equivalent to 9 of Cups. I'm like, that's not a coincidence. So this is what I'm going to say about this card. For at least, how many? For at least 70% of you watching this video, one of your fondest wishes came to pass in 2022. One of the things that has been your deepest and most profound of your heart's desires came to fruition. Now you go into 2023 knowing that that can happen all the time. That, yes, your wishes can be granted, your heart's desires can be brought into fruition. I've had a thing lately about using the term manifestation. It's become an overused term for me. So, going into 2023, I invite you to look at what other wishes and heart's desires you have and make up your mind to know that you are powerful enough, if not more than powerful enough, to attract them and bring them into fruition in 2023. And then what to leave behind. Something gained in 2022 that needs to be left in 2022. So once again, I'm going to have Drake do a close-up of the back of the card design. And now I'm going to have him do a close-up of the front of the card design. King of Pentacles. So leave behind your worries about money. Leave behind the thought, the fear of not having enough. I'm remembering one of my favorite sections of The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity by Catherine Ponder. And she wrote about hard times talk and about ceasing the practice of talking about lack, limitation, and hard times. And it remains one of my personal favorite sections of the Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. I do not talk about my bills. I do not talk about my expenses. I don't talk about the money that I owe. I don't talk about to whom I owe what. I don't talk about my financial worries. I don't talk about any of that to anybody. And the last thing I would ever do is post that on social media. That would be a death sentence for Mr. Prosperity. And even though I no longer lead metaphysical classes, including my prosperity classes, group, private, in-person, online, I absolutely have been remembering that I am Mr. Prosperity. And I find it interesting that I'm talking about, and here is another card that I find very interesting that came out during this reading at this time, because to Julian de Burgh, who wrote the Celtic Tarot, or rather one of the tarot decks with the title The Celtic Tarot, he wrote that the kings represent cardinal signs. In Western astrology, cardinal Earth is Capricorn. So even though my preference was to do this video in late November, here we are a few days, like literally 5 days after the sun entered Capricorn and 3 days after the new moon in Capricorn. And here are two cards in this reading that represent Capricorn energy. So we also are being guided and led to leave behind in 2022 fears and worries about money, about not having enough, about not having resources available to us. And, you know, I always tell people there are certain things that you know you're not going to do. I still remember there was a time when I was experiencing massive financial hardships, and it was recommended to me that I go to a local food bank. And I thought about it. I thought about it 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to go to a local food bank. If I need to starve, I starve. If I need to eat less, I eat less. If I need to eat certain things that I would normally not eat so that I can nourish myself, then I'll eat them. And now I'm in a position where I actually don't need to worry about, well, I mean, I am Cuban. It's not like I'm accustomed to never having enough food. But as an adult, there was a brief period of time a few years ago where I really didn't have enough money for food. And then I did. And now I do. So you know your life better than I will ever know your life. So if you know that there are certain things that you might need to do even if you don't want to, even if it's temporary. And there are some things that no matter how bad certain things get, you're just not going to do because you've decided that it's not going to serve you at all. And the final message card, which is from the bottom of the deck, is this. Nine of Pentacles. I don't think financial worries are going to be much of a problem in 2023. I really don't. I have a feeling that there are some beautiful and exciting financial surprises in store for all of you in 2023, or at the very least, at least 70% of all those of you who watch this video. And I will tell you, it really has been interesting, some of the things that have been opening up for me. Really, really interesting. But anyway, So, of course, I want to thank Llewellyn Publications for publishing yet another Llewellyn tarot-themed wall calendar. I am so happy and so thrilled. It is one of my favorite Llewellyn annuals. Well, actually, it is my number one favorite Llewellyn annual. Let me not lie. It is my number one favorite Llewellyn annual. And it is such a joy to work with and talk about and do videos on. And of course, I want to thank the Barbara Moore for writing the insights, spreads, and tips that are featured in these beautiful calendars. And of course, a reminder that the Llewellyn 2023, the Llewellyn Publications Llewellyn 2023 Tarot Calendar has already been published. It was published this past July, if I remember correctly. And I'm so happy that I finally purchased it a few months ago. So if you have not yet purchased it, by all means do so. If you want to give somebody a belated birthday gift, a belated holiday gift, an early birthday gift, and they love the tarot, or in my case, are in lust with the tarot, you know what to do. And if you know, I always think about this one person who made a comment in one of the previous videos that I did with this calendar, who talked about how she doesn't purchase anything online. And my first thought was to recommend that she go to her local metaphysical store, or go to her local Barnes & Noble bookseller store, or her local chain bookstore and see if they have it. Personally, I never found it in my own Barnes & Noble bookseller store. I would find ones from previous years. I would never see it on the racks. And these last few years, it's just become more convenient for me to purchase it online. And I'm always more than happy to purchase it directly from Llewellyn because, as most of you know, I am a huge advocate for independent booksellers. And Llewellyn Publications is an independent book publisher. And of course, I want to thank the late and great Robin Wood for creating one of the most beautiful and beloved tarot decks that Llewellyn has ever published. And of course, thank you to all of you in YouTube land for honoring who I am and what I do, and for honoring Drake, more commonly known as my awesome audiovisual person, for my YouTube videos and everything he does as well. Thank you as always for all the likes, and for all the comments, and for all the subscriptions to my YouTube channel, because they absolutely help out my YouTube channel. And of course, thank you to those of you who have been scheduling your sessions. It is so exciting for me and delightful for me that I have completely lost track of how many private sessions I have done this month, what's left of it. I have been averaging 2 readings, sometimes 3 a day when I have scheduled appointments, and they have made me so happy. I have been attracting so many beautiful clients who are loving, spiritual, and prosperous. And I am so thrilled that there are new walking commercials for Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch. Anyway, I wish all of you a beautiful night, the happiest and holiest of holidays, an incredibly prosperous and peaceful 2023, and of course, stay tuned for the next video.